What an unbelievable test match. How do we even begin to start summarising that one? Historic for so many different reasons, and what a performance from the Wallabies to come into that game, because who else, like me, on 17 minutes thought that the game was most likely done? After what we saw in the opening 20 minutes, the Springboks dominant, on the front foot, scoring tries, getting over the gain line at will, and somehow the Wallabies come back to win at Ellis Park for the first time in 62 years. And their first victory on South African soil since 2011. That is an incredible test match. Welcome back to the channel. Give me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, just unload on me. Let me know what you make of it. If you're a Wallabies fan, how stoked must you be? Unbelievable victory for this team, an important victory for this team. And if you're a Springboks fan, what changed? What went wrong? What would be your assessment of it? So honestly, after 17 minutes, I didn't write it down. I was close to writing down this game is done. I just did not see the Wallabies coming back at Ellis Park, altitude, against this Springbok team, and a Springbok team playing that well. Like, the Springboks were awesome in the first 20 minutes. So how did the Wallabies actually manage it? And it's a real statement result, I think, for Australia and for Joe Schmidt. It's the sort of result that I think breathes real life into what they're trying to do, how they're trying to build and progress and get better ahead of a home World Cup in 2 years. Like, it's these sorts of moments, particularly considering that this aside, the bulk of these players got bombed out of the World Cup 2 years ago in France in the pool stages. Worst ever performance from a Wallabies side at a World Cup. They've been rebuilding since then. We saw the victory at Twickenham. We saw improved performances against the Lions. And then we've got this. Like, this is 62 years, as I've said already. It is not an easy place to go at any time. It's certainly not an easy place to go at the moment against this Springbok team that are the back-to-back world champions. And I just think you've got to give so much credit to South Africa. So much credit to Australia for the way in which they came back into it. And that is probably one thing that we have seen this year already, is you can't fault the character in this Wallabies team. They were questioned after the first test against the Lions and showed real skill and guts and character in their performances in tests 2 and 3 of that series. You're 22-0 down after 17 minutes away to the Springboks, and you come back and win the game. Like, they clearly have a real togetherness and character, and I think belief in what they are trying to do. And if we want to talk about what changed in the game, I guess there's a few different things that we can probably get into. I think undeniably the Springbok discipline and execution massively dropped off from where it was in the first 20. I'll get back onto the first 20 minutes in a moment to talk about what the Springboks did so well in that part of the game and how it looked like it was getting away from Australia. But I think those two areas clearly changed. And then it's a funny thing, isn't it? Momentum. Momentum in sport and momentum in rugby. And you just felt it with the Dylan Peach try around about half an hour. The Wilson try immediately after half-time. Just the momentum in the game and the belief in the game completely changed. And I'll be fascinated to hear from people that were there at the match, because watching it on TV, it felt like it was just a bit of a party after 20 minutes. Fans dancing, having a great time, and you could start to just feel the momentum shift, the belief in the Wallabies team. And then it comes down to execution and the skill. And the one thing we have seen from this Australia team, they still might not always be the most consistent side, but their skill levels, when they get them right, are clearly really, really high, I think. Tom Wright, I think, is a brilliant player. Max Jorgensen is playing sensational stuff at the moment. When they are able to get their game going, they're able to cause teams real problems. And as the momentum shifted and as their belief changed, I thought some of the tries they scored, some of which were quite opportunistic and counter-attacking, I just thought was excellent. So it's one of those games that I think is really difficult to try and summarise. But ultimately, for the Wallabies, for Australia Rugby, what a result and what a performance. And I suppose a couple of players in particular, I thought Len Ikitau was excellent throughout. I thought Angus Bell, when he came off the bench, had a really great impact. Tom Wright and Max Jorgensen I've mentioned already. And then Harry Wilson, who hopefully his injury isn't too serious. You always get worried, don't you, when it's the knee. I feel like they can't catch a break at the moment in that regard, as he, excuse me, as he scored that try. But yeah, historic Wallabies performance. And at one point, it looked miles away. To go back to the first 20 minutes, it was almost every area of the game you felt like the Springboks were the better in that first 20. It started with the aerial game. They contested in the air. They won the kicking game. They got the ball back. They had momentum, which got them over the gain line. Their forwards were excellent in terms of getting them over that gain line. And then that left Grant Williams and Marnie Libbok with the platform, the speed, the time to execute the attack. Their offloading game was great. Andre Esterhazen. Like, there was so much good stuff in the first 20 minutes for the Springboks that I suppose you then look back and you think, what happened? And it's always a combination of stuff in matches like this, isn't it? You have to give a lot of credit to Australia and a lot of the stuff that I've touched upon already. I think the Springboks will look at it, though. For a team of this quality, that have this calibre of players, that have achieved the things they have achieved in the game, at home to be 22-0 up after 17 minutes and to end up losing the game, I think they will be massively disappointed in that. Their discipline let them down. Their execution started letting them down. Like, everything just seemed like it fell apart for them. And it doesn't mean there won't be positives from this to a degree. I thought Etzebeth in particular in that first half was really, really good. I thought Khaleesi looked good at number 8. But clearly some massive work-ons. And I suppose a real frustration for the Springboks when we talk about them trying to retain the Rugby Championship, that they're already on the back foot. Now, they obviously can still do it. But this is also a shot in the arm, I suppose, to the All Blacks. I think the bookies had as the favourites for the Rugby Championship before we started, and they'll definitely be the favourites now. Things to work on for South Africa. And what a weird old game. That is why we love international rugby, isn't it? It's why we love test match rugby, because I don't think anyone saw that coming. Anyone that says that they thought Australia were going to come back and win after 17 minutes, I think are probably lying. But for South Africa at home, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 5 tries in the second half to Australia. 40 unanswered points for the Wallabies, and the Springboks not scoring a point after the 17th minute. They've got to be better than that. They will be better than that. We saw in that first 20 what they can do. I think what we can probably already guarantee is you will see a reaction from the Springboks next week, because I would imagine Rassie Erasmus and those coaches are going to put an absolute rocket up them after that game. I think they are going to have a brutal week, and he will expect a hell of a lot more from them heading into next week and heading into the rest of the Rugby Championship. But I do think the story here and the story from this game is fair play Australia. Fair play the Wallabies. And I think such an important result for them, as I've touched upon already, to give them belief in terms of what they're doing and where they're tracking, but also for this team that would have been frustrated with how they started the Lions series, really pleased with how they ended it, but trying to keep some sort of momentum. And had the game continued tracking in the way it was in the first 20 minutes, you'd have thought so much of that good stuff in the Lions tour was about to be undone. And then they've reversed it. Brilliant. Brilliant performance. Give me your views. Wallabies fans, Springbok fans, so much to try and unpack. I've done my best in a pretty short time after the full-time whistle to sum up my immediate thoughts on it. Give me yours. Like the video as well and hit that subscribe button. The Rugby Championship is up and running, and it is up and running with an absolute all-time classic, the Wallabies' first win at Ellis Park in 62 years. I'll see you in the next one.